Joining me today to discuss industrial cybersecurity is Steve Gyurindak, who is the CTO for networking and OT cybersecurity at Armis. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Ed. I appreciate it.
Let me start off by asking, industrial cybersecurity spans a wide set of solutions and technologies and services. Can you just kind of start it off by framing where Armis fits, which you're into that market?
Sure. So fundamentally, in any cybersecurity, whether it's going to be ICS, DCS, BMS, any of the OT, and really any of the IT, starts with two foundational things. Know what you're trying to protect and know what you're trying to protect is doing. So Armis really, that's at the foundation of what we do. We discover exactly what's on a network and we tell you what it's doing. Now from that, we can overlay a lot of really important information. So we can tell you, based on what the device is and what it's doing, how risky is it? And we gauge that from different ways. So it could be the fact that it's an out of support device and it hasn't been updated in a long time. It could be the fact that it's actually going to known sites that have been compromised. And then you can layer on top of that the vulnerabilities. Now, obviously, in an ICS environment, vulnerabilities should be known about and dealt with in a management of change. But honestly, in an ICS environment, it's pretty common to have things that are very vulnerable. So you really need to layer on an aspect of, is this vulnerability really being used? Am I really susceptible to it? Some sort of human logic on it. That's really what our platform does as well.
And I was going to ask you about what hurdles there are we find a lot of companies struggle to maintain their cybersecurity, but I think the way you just described that answered that question about what are the hurdles, and you do see that as a problem, and what you described is how you help companies solve that, I presume.
Well, think about any average decent sized OT company, right? They're going to have either multiple locations, definitely multiple lines of either production or energy production, or energy distribution. The amount of devices that are on their networks and the ability to service those devices are a little bit impossible for a single entity to do it. So they leverage their ecosystem, right? The ecosystem of folks that might maintain their life safety devices, might maintain their HVAC, the people that might maintain certain motors. Generally, in this hyper-connected world, those companies actually put devices onto a network so they can remotely do this. However, a lot of times that is done without the knowledge of the company that has really employed these folks. So really understanding everything that's on your network, and no matter who put it on, that's critical. I mean, how do you secure something you don't know about?
One issue that comes up a lot with my clients, they'll talk to me about, is they'd like to drive more convergence between their IT and OT cybersecurity programs. Is that something Armis's products, or if you can help them with?
Yeah, Armis were uniquely positioned. So 7 years ago, when Nadir and Yevgeny started the company, they looked at the industry from a different viewpoint. Now, if we go back 7 years, everything was network centric, and everything was based on using open source tools like Nmap and things that are really terrible in an OT environment. They had made a decision at that point to actually be a passive tool, meaning, and passive I've learned, has unique differentiations. By passive, I mean what Armis does is actually connects with anything you already have, takes that data in, deconflicts it, and then presents it. But moreover, it's augmented by getting a copy of the traffic that's in those environments, and then telling you all devices. Now, when you talk about your IT-OT convergence, what we're seeing is, the digitalization of a lot of companies, and generally the OT, which usually was a process engineer, who really never got educated on cybersecurity, either they're being burdened with, hey, now secure everything, and they've not had the proper training, or the IT folks are coming in who have proper training, but they think that they can at any moment change whatever they want, which we know can't happen in an OT environment.
We're constantly here. I mean, I constantly see people doing a lot of towards digital transformation today,
Mm-hmm.
which is introducing even more devices. And I'm just wondering, is that something that you're helping them with? Yeah, I presume you are.
Yeah, so that's one of the biggest things. People are on various points in their journey of digital transformation. Now, digital transformation is good, right? Essentially, if I can predict my supply chain better, if I can increase my yield, if I can increase my employee safety by understanding the maintenance of the proper equipment, that is really a good thing. The issue really comes that in order to leverage this, you have to take data out of an environment that you would normally have closed. The way that, and you're doing it also with gear that generally has a 15-year run life, right? So you're not exactly, 15 years ago, they didn't say, hey, maybe one day Sid wants to go and upgrade this firmware, right? So you're dealing with legacy. So what we're seeing is the industry is putting in devices that are gateways, take the old protocol, let's connect them to the new cloud. What Armis does is by defining what every device is and what it's communicating with, we can tell you about that journey. Not only that, we can ensure that it's talking to the right place, because that's the biggest fear, is the unknown. Is this device I've introduced that I know is going to go beyond my four walls, is it going to the right place?
Changing topics here. What about partnerships? We see partnerships as becoming a really important thing in cybersecurity, because nobody, even though everybody tells me they can do everything, everybody knows they can't do everything, and partnerships are very important. So I'm just wondering, what is your strategy for partnerships? And
So it's
what
very
you're thinking about it?
It's very interesting. Partnerships are only as good as the knowledge that they bring, right? And let's just face it, the operational technology world is a specialty set of knowledge. So we've partnered predominantly with Honeywell, one of the oldest OT companies in the world. What we've done there is we're trying to leverage their expertise with our Discover capabilities. Essentially, we're a tool in their tool chest. So we embrace them, as well as we embrace a lot of the really large partners that people buy from, the 1898s, the HCLs of the world. But yeah, to your point, absolutely, because these systems are no longer made up of a bill of materials where you go and say, I want to produce a widget, give me everything you want. Now it's more about, let's start there, but I have to support this, add to this, and get more out of this.
Just a final question. For the coming year or the future here, what do you see as the headwinds and your tailwinds, for your market?
So by far, the Ukrainian conflict has unleashed the whirlwind of every hacker in the world thinking that they can go and attack every industry. We saw at Armis, and we monitor about 8 billion devices a day, we saw a 20% uptick when in cyber attacks against private entities. 44% of those were food and beverage producers. So essentially, while the cat's away, the mice will play is going on a little bit in the world. And while people are focused on the Ukrainian conflict and all the actual nation state cyber warfare that's going on there, it's opened the doors for everyone. So that definitely are the headwinds and people really need to get some sound, security foundations on that one. Real simple, have an incident response plan, practice it, train your employees, and definitely do good backups. Now, our tailwinds are really going to be the investments that all the governments around the world are making, the executive orders that are being signed in order to promote cybersecurity, especially in critical infrastructure environments.
Okay. Great talking to you today, Steve.
Thanks, and I appreciate it.
Today we've been speaking with Steve Gyurindak, who is the CTO for networking and OT at Armis. Thank you for watching.